In the following question, the question states that substance P reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid to produce a gas. So this is P over here, and remember it is reacting with hydrochloric acid, which is an acid. Remember there are just a few substances that react with acids to produce a gas. One is P could either be a metal. Metals, when they react with acids, they produce hydrogen gas, or it could be a carbonate of a. So it could be a carbonate. Carbonates also react with acids to produce salt water and carbon dioxide. So with acids, you either have metals or carbonates reacting to produce a gas, and he then states that this gas reduces substance Q. So there's a substance Q over here, and the gas that is produced in this experiment, it could either be hydrogen gas or it could be carbon dioxide gas. There are only two possibilities. So it could either be hydrogen gas or carbon dioxide gas, and that gas then goes and reacts with the substance Q over here. So I'm going to look at the options now. For metal, for this substance P, you're only given options of metals over here, and there's copper, lead, magnesium, and zinc. There are four metals given. So we're going to rule out carbonates, and we are also going to rule out carbon dioxide gas produced, because that is not an option. So there's a metal reacting with the acid to produce hydrogen gas. So we have eliminated carbon dioxide and carbonates. We don't have an option. So you're given four metals. Now, if you look at the reactivity series of metals, so here I've written the reactivity series of metals. This side is the more reactive side. These metals are more reactive, and as you move to the right, the reactivity of the metals decreases. So the metals over here are less reactive. Now, acids tend to only react with reactive metals. So these the ones that I'm marking over here, these are the metals that would normally react with acids. Lead, on the other hand, would only react with acids at very high temperature, or if the acid is concentrated. And these metals over here would have absolutely no reaction, or a very small amount of reaction would take place. So we can ignore these metals. They're not going to react in a significant way with acids. We can also include lead in that. So let's remove copper and lead, because we know they don't have a very high tendency to react with the acids to produce hydrogen. So it could so the metal P would either be magnesium or it's going to be zinc. So going back to our diagram, I have narrowed my possibilities. Metal P is either magnesium or it's zinc. Now, in both cases, whether it's magnesium or whether it's zinc, if it reacts with hydrochloric acid, there's only one gas that would be produced, and that would be hydrogen gas. So hydrogen gas is passing into this tube over here, and we need to figure out what is substance Q. The options that I have for substance Q are the copper 2 oxide. So the two options that have copper 2 oxide in them, there's lead 2 oxide and there's zinc oxide. So I'm going to write all of them over here. So it's either going to be CuO, or it's going to be PbO, or it's going to be ZnO. So it's either one of them. Now hydrogen is coming and it's reacting with, let's say it reacts with copper oxide. Remember, a more reactive element displaces a less reactive element. So I'm going to look at the reactivity series again, and I'm going to mark where hydrogen is in the reactivity series. So hydrogen is over here, copper is over here. So if I react hydrogen with copper oxide, so if I react hydrogen with CuO, since hydrogen is more reactive, that would indicate that it is capable of displacing copper, and H2O would be formed and copper would be displaced. So there would be a reaction with CuO because hydrogen is more reactive. So the likely answer for this, because he's saying that the gas reduces substance Q, and that is exactly what it is doing. If hydrogen reacts with substance Q, which is copper oxide in the first and fourth options, if it's copper oxide is getting reduced to copper because you're removing the oxygen. When oxygen is lost, that is called reduction. So this process over here can be classified as reduction, as reduction is a loss of oxygen. So copper oxide is the correct option. If I had chosen lead oxide or zinc oxide, you can see that lead and zinc are more reactive. Lead is more reactive than hydrogen. Zinc is even more reactive than hydrogen. So hydrogen would not be able to displace lead or zinc because hydrogen is less reactive. Remember, more reactive displaces a less reactive. So your correct option would be copper oxide, and in the four options, D would be the correct option because the first one could be either magnesium or zinc, and substance Q was copper 2 oxide. So D is your correct option for this particular question.